On a crisp spring morning in 1957, Lawrence Joseph Bader kissed his wife goodbye, grabbed his fishing gear, and set off for a solitary excursion on Lake Erie. By nightfall, his boat was found adrift, battered by the waves, with no trace of the man who had sailed it. Presumed drowned, Bader's disappearance left his family and friends in a shroud of unanswered questions and sorrow. But the mystery deepened 8 years later when a charismatic bartender and local celebrity known as John Fritz Johnson emerged in Omaha, Nebraska, bearing an uncanny resemblance to the long-lost Bader. Was this a case of amnesia, a meticulously planned escape, or something even more unfathomable? This is the mysterious case of Lawrence Joseph Bader. Lawrence Joseph Bader was born into a modest family in Akron, Ohio. Known for his affable personality and entrepreneurial spirit, he carved out a career as a cookware salesman. By the mid-1950s, he was married to Mary Lou and the father of 3 children. Despite his outwardly normal life, he was struggling with substantial financial difficulties, including mounting debts and tax issues. As Bader's financial troubles deepened, his personal life began to fray. The pressures of providing for a growing family while managing debt created a tense environment. Despite these challenges, Bader maintained a facade of normalcy, continuing his sales job and family activities. On a fateful Wednesday afternoon, Bader decided to take a break from his troubles with a fishing trip on Lake Erie. He rented out a small boat at Perkins Beach in Rocky River, Ohio, assuring the boat rental agent he would return by evening. The weather was calm as Bader set off, but within a few hours, a fierce storm rolled in, transforming the tranquil lake into a treacherous expanse. The storm was violent and sudden, with high winds and choppy waters. By the next morning, Bader's boat was found washed ashore near the lake's edge, its hull damaged. The search for Lawrence Joseph Bader was exhaustive. Rescue teams scoured the lake using boats and planes to comb the area where his boat was found. Despite their efforts, not a trace of Bader's body was discovered. Family and friends held on to a slim hope that he might have survived. But as days turned into weeks, hope waned. Ultimately, the Coast Guard and local authorities declared Bader presumed dead. His wife, Mary Lou, now a widow, was left to raise their children alone. Fortunately, the community rallied around Mary Lou and her children, offering support and condolences during their time of grief. Life insurance policies were cashed in, and Bader's debts were settled as best as possible. The void left by Bader's absence was palpable, with friends and neighbors recalling fond memories of his presence. Despite the closure brought by the official declaration, questions lingered, and the hope of a resolution to the mystery persisted in the hearts of many. Little did they know, the truth of Bader's fate would defy all expectations, reshaping the narrative of his disappearance in ways no one could have imagined. Almost 8 years later, after Bader's disappearance, a man named John Fritz Johnson appeared in Omaha, Nebraska. Fritz was a larger-than-life character, a jovial bartender and an avid archer. He was married to a woman named Nancy and had established a reputation as a lively and engaging TV personality. His show, At the Bars, featured him in his element behind the bar, mixing drinks and entertaining viewers. His charismatic personality and distinctive eye patch made him a well-known figure. Fritz's life seemed entirely disconnected from that of Lawrence Bader's until a chance encounter at a Chicago sporting goods show in 1965. The unraveling of Fritz's true identity began with an archery demonstration in Chicago. Among the attendees was a man who recognized Fritz as Lawrence Bader, the missing Akron salesman. He contacted Bader's family after being astounded by the resemblance, which set off a series of events that would shock both families and the general public. When confronted by Bader's relatives, Fritz denied any knowledge of being Lawrence Bader. His steadfast denial of being Lawrence Bader clashed with the mounting evidence pointing to his true past. The confrontation with Bader's relatives became a pivotal moment, fraught with disbelief. Yet amid the turmoil, Fritz remained absolute in his assertion of being John Johnson, leaving those around him grappling with the enigma of his dual existence. This confrontation marked the beginning of a journey into the depths of a mystery that would challenge perceptions of identity and reality. To resolve the identity question definitively, fingerprints taken from Fritz were compared with Bader's military records. The results were conclusive. John Fritz Johnson was indeed Lawrence Joseph Bader. This revelation sent shockwaves through both families and the communities involved. The man presumed dead for nearly 8 years was alive and living under a different identity. The media frenzy surrounding Lawrence Joseph Bader's reappearance as John Fritz Johnson transcended mere sensationalism. It became a cultural phenomenon that captivated the nation's imagination. Headlines splashed across newspapers and television screens, chronicling the extraordinary tale of a man lost and found. Journalists, sensing the allure of a story that defied logic, descended upon Omaha and Akron like a swarm, hungry for every detail and every revelation that would peel back the layers of a mystery surrounding Bader's bizarre journey. The relentless pursuit of truth in the face of the inexplicable demonstrated the media's power to illuminate the darkest corners of the human experience. The revelation had a dual impact on Bader's original family in Akron. The revelation thrust Mary Lou, now remarried and with a new life, into the spotlight. The children, who had grown up without their father, faced a confusing reality. Legally, Bader's death declaration complicated matters because it meant revisiting settled estates and insurance claims. Fritz's/Bader's new life in Omaha also suffered. The discovery that her husband had another family caught his wife, Nancy, off guard. The legal implications were vast, involving bigamy and the invalidity of his second marriage. The financial strain of possible lawsuits, as well as the emotional toll on both families, were significant. Central to the perplexing saga of Lawrence Joseph Bader was his steadfast assertion of amnesia, claiming a complete lack of recollection regarding his former life. This assertion, insinuating that he genuinely believed himself to be John Fritz Johnson, faced widespread skepticism from various quarters, including medical professionals and acquaintances familiar with his past as Bader. The validity of Bader's amnesia claim divided the medical and psychological communities. Experts specializing in psychology and neurology offered divergent perspectives on his condition. Some posited the possibility of dissociative fugue, an exceedingly rare phenomenon wherein an individual experiences a profound disconnection from their identity, often resulting in the establishment of an entirely new persona. A man from New York suffering from dissociative fugue once disappeared without a trace, only to resurface in California with no memory of his former life. He had assumed a new identity and established a new career, unaware of his past. It took years for authorities to uncover his true identity, shedding light on the complex nature of dissociative fugue and its impact on memory and identity. A woman from London afflicted by this rare disorder went on a solo trip to Europe, but disappeared for months, living under a different name and oblivious to her identity until authorities found her in Italy. She experienced dissociative fugue, wandering aimlessly until authorities intervened. The case highlighted the transient nature of memory and the profound effects of psychological trauma. For Bader, though, many skeptics within the medical community speculated that he may have feigned amnesia as a means of evading the repercussions of his troubled history. This debate over Bader's mental state added a compelling layer of complexity to an already baffling case. After the initial shock, Fritz/Bader returned to Omaha, attempting to resume his life as a TV personality. However, the public scrutiny and personal turmoil proved too much. The once popular figure struggled to maintain his career and personal relationships amidst the ongoing controversy. As the scandal unfolded, Fritz lost his job on television and faced increasing isolation. The community, which had once welcomed him, now split, with some endorsing him and others considering him a scammer. The strain on his marriage to Nancy intensified, leading to further discord and eventual separation. In the years following the revelation, Bader's health began to deteriorate. He was diagnosed with liver cancer, a condition that rapidly worsened. The media frenzy had subsided, but Bader's life remained in disarray, caught between two identities and the legacies they entailed. Lawrence Joseph Bader, also known as John Fritz Johnson, passed away on September 16, 1966. His death marked the end of a bizarre chapter in American history, but the questions surrounding his disappearance and reappearance lingered. The case remains a poignant reminder of the complexities of identity and the human capacity for reinvention. One of the most prevalent theories for this case is that Bader orchestrated his disappearance to escape financial ruin and personal responsibilities. The storm on Lake Erie provided a convenient cover, allowing him to start anew as John Fritz Johnson. Proponents of this theory argue that his financial troubles and the meticulous nature of his new life are evidence of premeditation. Conversely, some believe that Bader genuinely suffered from a dissociative fugue, leading to an unintentional new identity. This condition, though rare, does offer a realistic and reasonable explanation for Bader's transformation into Fritz. The debate over whether his amnesia was real or feigned continues to fascinate psychologists and criminologists alike. There's also the theory that Bader's transformation into another identity was not intentional, but was still the result of a deliberate act of self-harm. This theory suggests that he jumped overboard during the storm to intentionally take his own life due to the pressures he faced. Instead of dying, however, he suffered a brain injury that triggered the dissociative fugue syndrome. So, when he didn't die but washed ashore, he thought he was someone else and went on to live that person's life. Another theory suggests that Bader's involvement in criminal activities or his provision of crucial information to authorities led to his placement in a witness protection program. This theory would imply that law enforcement organizations were responsible for his disappearance and subsequent identity change. While highly speculative, some individuals may entertain the possibility of extraterrestrial or paranormal involvement in Bader's disappearance. This theory would attribute his sudden disappearance to forces beyond human comprehension, leaving room for imaginative interpretations. In a more conspiratorial vein, there could be speculation that Bader was involved in political espionage or caught up in a larger conspiracy. This theory would paint his disappearance as part of a larger web of intrigue and subterfuge. These theories, while varying widely in plausibility, reflect the diverse range of perspectives and interpretations that could arise in cases as strange as Lawrence Joseph Bader's. Each offers a unique lens through which to view the complexities of human behavior and the mysteries of identity. This case offers a profound reflection on the nature of identity. It challenges our understandings of ourselves and the extent to which a person can reinvent themselves. Was his transformation into John Fritz Johnson a conscious act to escape a life fraught with financial difficulties and personal strife? Or did he genuinely suffer from a dissociative fugue, losing all memory of his former life? His ability to slip into a completely new life, whether intentionally or due to amnesia, speaks to the malleable nature of human identity. It raises critical questions about how much of our identity is tied to our memories, and how easily those can be altered or forgotten.